nice time to get a picture. Just get up there and snap one. Let's go out and get a real one. Could, well, I mean, like posed.
Which if you want, I can. No, I can't. Yeah.
What did you do?
No, this is
Picture of the board would be good too. Can you get a close up of the just a shot of it? I could do it too because I want to put it in YouTube.
I like the All right, good morning, afternoon. I don't know what it is for you people. Morning-ish. I'm Tasha Dunn, and I am fortunate to be the professor of these two lovely young women who we together completed a paper that was presented at a conference a month ago, and they are going to present the work today. I'm wondering how many people they paid to be here, or how many people are interested in Yik Yak and its shady business. So, which you will learn a lot more about. So this is Grace Fellinger and Cassandra Lamb, and they will be presenting The Power of Anonymity, a multi-method approach to understanding the use of Yik Yak among traditional college students. So take it away.
Alright, Tasha kind of stole my introduction there, but hi, okay, so yes. Okay, so like she said, we wrote this paper over the summer, and we just presented it at a recent conference. So the title of the paper is The Power of Anonymity, a multi-method approach to understanding the use of Yik Yak among traditional college students. So that's kind of a mouthful, but anyway, you'll kind of figure out what we're talking about. So who in here is familiar with Yik Yak? Okay, cool. Beautiful. A good amount of you. Okay, so for those of you who aren't, like my parents over there probably, our study focuses on Yik Yak, a popular location-based anonymous social network that was created in 2013. It is now used on over 2,000 U.S. college campuses. And our study seeks to understand how and why traditional college students use Yik Yak and how they negotiate the anonymity it is associated with. Now, as a location-based social networking site, Yik Yak users who are in the same geographical region, they are placed usually within 1.5 to 10 miles. They're placed into a herd, which is then where they share a message board and an anonymous messaging board, limited to 200 characters, and then users can respond to posts from other users by providing text-based comments or upvotes and downvotes. When a message is downvoted 5 times, it becomes deleted. So additionally, Yik Yak allows users, with this upvote downvote system, this allows users to flag positions or postings that violate guidelines such as bullying. So really, users are kind of filtering and their own content that they're seeing.
Yik Yak, despite its success among college students, has been frequently criticized in the media for encouraging inflammatory communication due to the lack of accountability that the anonymity affords. Much of this criticism has been fueled through a few noteworthy incidents, such as the one involving a 19-year-old student at the University of Missouri who was arrested after posting the following yak on November 10, 2015. quote, "I'm going to stand my ground tomorrow and shoot every black person I see," unquote. Yik Yak responded to this and other similar incidents by implementing geofencing, which means that the app can be banned from use in certain geographic areas as a means to prevent cyberbullying. In addition to geofencing, Yik Yak introduced the use of handles in March of 2016, allowing users to post, comment, and reply using usernames, pseudonyms, that kind of thing, should they choose to do that. 6 months later, Yik Yak erased even more of the anonymity feature by requiring users to create a username in order to post on the app.
So the power Yik Yak's slow decrease or anonymity has caused the application to decline in popularity pretty drastically. In September of 2014, Yik Yak was number 2 on the download charts among U.S. Social networking applications, and today it's number 63. So the decline suggests that certain demographics value anonymity, especially young adults who frequently experience turbulent periods of social adjustment, such as going to college, and they need a space to openly and anonymously express their thoughts and their feelings. Now, this is the primary reason why young adults have embraced anonymous social networks in droves. However, when anonymity is reduced and young adults begin to use apps like Yik Yak less, a better understanding of how these adults negotiate online anonymity is warranted, hence the focus of our study.
So for our literature review, we focused on 3 different areas: social media use among college students, Yik Yak itself, and then also online anonymity. Several studies have addressed the use of social media among college students. Subjects range from the link of social capital and college students' use of social media platforms to the connection between learning and social media, and a lot more different studies. Despite the wealth of research about college students' use of social media, there aren't very many that have been done on Yik Yak specifically, a noteworthy gap considering its prevalence on college campuses. Among the few studies on Yik Yak are 2 that compare the platform to Twitter, 2 that focus exclusively on Yik Yak and its contents, and 1 that does not focus specifically on the app, but provides an analysis of the concept of anonymity and some of the problems that arise when attempting to identify those who abuse anonymous social networks, such as Yik Yak. In terms of online anonymity, there is a rich body of literature focused on how the practice of anonymity impacts online behavior and communication. Within the literature, most studies are focused on anonymity within the context of social media, and they often conclude that such anonymity can have both negative and positive effects. This conclusion echoes the key debate between supporters and critics of anonymous social networks. Supporters believe that anonymous networks provide valuable social outlets for users to express themselves, explore their identity, explore taboo topics, and find social support, all without the fear of bullying. Critics, on the other hand, argue that the lack of accountability on these networks makes communications more impersonal and increases incivility. So for our study, we used 2 different research questions. How and why did traditional college students use Yik Yak, and how did traditional college students negotiate the anonymity associated with Yik Yak? So to answer these questions, we relied upon 2 different methods: textual analysis and interviews. To conduct the textual analysis, we collected a convenient sample of data from Yik Yak using screen captures, which were taken for 14 consecutive days. Since Yik Yak is location-based and usually constricted to a smaller area, data was collected from the herd of a private liberal arts college in the Midwest. You can't guess which one that was. A total of 213 screen captures were collected from the herd. To analyze the screen captures, we used theoretically informed induction to search for textual cues that illuminated dominant themes. After several intensive readings, 7 themes emerged: campus life, sex and relationships, drugs and alcohol, humor, questions, mental health, and social support. In addition to analyzing screen captures, we interviewed 5 males and 5 females between the ages of 18 and 22 who were actively a part of Yik Yak herd that we analyzed. To conduct each interview, which was audio recorded and later transcribed, we used a protocol consisting of 15 questions that inquired about each participant's use and opinions of Yik Yak.
Okay, so now for the results. This is the exciting part for you guys. We actually get to look at screen captures. Okay, so for the results, so campus life. So campus life was the most, I'm gonna use this thing. Do it. Oh, nice. Okay, so campus life was the most mentioned theme with 99 times that it was mentioned. This theme included components like complaints about campus and the promotion of events and schoolwork. Now, most mentions about campus life came in the form of complaints such as this one over here. People on the volleyball court need to shut the freak up, hashtag quiet hours, hashtag finals, hashtag y'all gonna fail. So yeah, a lot of stuff like that. Often of people being loud, right there. Other examples include like Wi-Fi, hair being in the showers, or the weather, which we can totally control. Anyway, as varied content about campus life was, interviews with participants indicated that mentions of campus life were their primary motivator for using Yik Yak. Now, sex and relationships. Within the 213 screen captures, there were 73 mentions of sex and relationships. Surprise. Some of these mentions focus solely on friendship, such as this one here, freshman friends become sophomore strangers, while others revolved around the desire for romantic relationships or the lack thereof, which I'll let you read the other one for yourself. Sorry, Mom. Let's see here. Members of the herd also posted about problems they were having or experiencing in current friendships or relationships. However, most mentions associated with this theme were focused on the sex-related content. There it is. Now, after speaking with interviewees who all noticed the prevalent sex-oriented content, some admitting to using Yik Yak to pick up others. Similarly, by posting their Snapchat or Instagram username in the comment threads, I don't know if you guys have seen that, but then they would delete it really quickly so no one else would see it in order to keep their, handle private. Now, similarly, other interviewees compared Yik Yak to dating sites such as Tinder. The next theme was drugs and alcohol. Drugs and alcohol was mentioned only 10 times, which was surprising given their frequent association with the college lifestyle. One explanation could be the upvote and downvote feature, where Yik that reveals the location of a party where drugs or alcohol may be present is voted down enough or deleted as to protect hosts and attendees at that party. This was further explained in an interview where one participant mentioned that Yik Yak was once primarily used for finding parties on campus. However, they think it was, but the campus safety was catching on to where the parties were going to be and using the yak, so that's why they stopped doing that. Which explains limited mentions about drugs and alcohol. Now, humor. 33 yaks contain jokes or pickup lines intended to make users laugh, such as this one here. This is hello. This is my favorite yak that we found. Someone simply posted hello, and other users started responding with the popular lyrics from Adele's hit single Hello. You can read how that goes. Let's see. Some of the humor was found not only in original posts, but in the comment section, as seen right here. Within interviews, a majority of participants explained that they use Yik Yak purely for entertainment purposes or for the humorous content. So, questions. 48 of the screen captures were analyzed containing questions, which all varied in nature. Now, most questions are focused on common taboo topics for Westerners, such as family matters, hygiene, sexuality, finances, and friendships. Most questions were more gossip-oriented, such as this one, best available freshman guys. That could start something. And there was also a variety of pragmatic questions were also present in the group, such as, does anyone in Berg have ketchup? Now, regardless of their focus, many of the questions were enthusiastically answered by other users and often started lengthy comment threads. Now, interestingly, there were 22 mentions of mental health within the data, often in the form of expressions of loneliness, stress, sadness, loss, self-esteem, and depression. Such as this one over here, loneliness, and I'm ready to be done now. The personal nature of these posts suggests that users engage Yik Yak as a type of diary where they can freely vent personal thoughts and feelings without giving away their identity. The support that accompanies this vulnerability is noteworthy as indicated in the following section, social support. Now, there are 21 mentions contain supportive material. These mentions were commonly found within the comment threads beneath mental health-oriented posts, such as the I'm ready to be done now post. Except there isn't anything. As the example suggests, an atmosphere council was prevalent in the herd we analyzed. This was supported by an interview by Kayla, who states, I see a lot of posts from people who are upset and are looking for advice. It's a space for them to ask for help without being embarrassed because it's anonymous. I try to give genuine advice to help them out. Now, while they're offering advice, sticking up for friends, spreading school spirit, sharing events on campus, or more, our results reveal that content of Yik Yak is not as harsh as it may seem, and it can be used to foster positive, supportive communities of anonymous users.
So, given the results of our study, we align with the supporters of anonymous social networks. Though anonymity can and did invite vulgar content, it primarily fueled the creation and sustainability of community within the herd. The first indication of community formed via anonymity is in the highly context-specific posts about campus life. Without anonymity, it is likely users would have refrained from voicing complaints about dorm life or admitting their poor study habits during finals week. Adding to the sense of connection is the use of humor. In many cases, it was a communal effort with people anonymously upvoting and or building off one another's jokes. By adding to old jokes and attempting new ones, a community centered about entertainment was created that kept many users coming back. Anonymity also allowed for connections within this community to move beyond the virtual into the physical realm. Posts and comments that were sexual in nature primarily inspired these shifts and generally allowed for more uninhibited conversations within the herd. Part of the uninhibited conversation was stemmed from taboo questions that users asked, which they likely wouldn't have asked had their identities been known. In other words, anonymity enabled users to feel safe enough to ask unconventional questions, many of which started informal conversations that incensed the sense of community within the herd. Most influential to recognizing the connection between anonymity and community is the atmosphere of counsel and overall social support that was created in response to anonymous expressions of mental health issues. Instead of ignoring these expressions, which could have been done without social repercussions, users kindly embraced each and every one of them, providing social support in the form of additional inquiry, words of encouragement, and offers to provide helpful gifts. The fact that these expressions were always handled in a supportive manner alludes to the sense of community within the herd and ultimately speaks to the value of anonymity. While there were other components of the results we could have focused on, the sense of community forged by the anonymity of Yik Yak was the most prevalent and can be used to challenge the negativity online anonymity is often associated with. Anonymity is much more multidimensional and powerful than cultural criticism alone has accounted for. As illustrated in our study, anonymity helped foster a community that is contextual, entertaining, virtual, and sometimes physical, informative, and socially supportive.
Now, regardless of whether people identify as supporters or critics of anonymous social networks, the shift towards privacy and emergent communication technologies or social networking sites is very present and will continue to grow. Now, given this phenomenon, we hope that our findings will contribute to understandings of human social behavior associated with online anonymity. The more we know about users communicate with each other on anonymous social networks, the more we can be proactive instead of reactive about these emergent technologies.
So as informative as our study has the potential to be, it also has limitations, including a small sample size and the recognition that any post that is downvoted 5 times is removed and was therefore not available for our analysis, which could have influenced our results. Despite these limitations, we hope our study will be of value to those contributing to current and future infrastructures of anonymous social networks, will inform decisions of privacy and emergent communication technologies, and will ultimately contribute to understanding of human social behavior in the context of anonymity. Thank you.
Okay, so we have about 4 minutes for questions or comments. Related experiences of using Yik Yak. Anybody feel comfortable?
When did you collect this data?
This was the end around like April, May.
Oh, last semester.
So right around finals week of last spring semester.
Since the app is like anonymous, how did you get those people? How did you know to ask those people?
So for interviews?
Yeah.
Okay, so for our interview process, we just kind of went around campus. We used a snowballing effect. Snowball sample effect. Snowball sample. So like I would ask one of my friends if they use Yik Yak at all, and they'd be like, yeah. Like if they did, they'd be like, yeah, we use it. And then so we'd interview about it, kind of talk about it if they were willing to open up to me about their experience with it. And then they'd suggest another person who they thought might use it, and then that's how we found people to interview mostly.
And to maintain the anonymity, we didn't use like their real names or anything for the interview, so.
Or in our paper.
Yeah.
Is there a way to like message on Yik Yak, or like so I'm curious. This is spurred by the ketchup.
Yeah.
Because if they had ketchup, like how would they get the ketchup to each other?
Right, figure it out. Yeah. As far as I know, in my experience with Yik Yak, there was not a messaging option at all. But like I kind of said before, when I was mentioning how people would try to like hook up through Yik Yak, they would maybe post like their Snapchat username quick, or be like, oh, I live in room whatever, or meet you like in the lobby or something like that. So I mean, that's kind of the Yep, and then they delete it quickly, or if they didn't care about their anonymity, I'm not going to say that word anymore, but user discretion kind of thing.
Was Yik Yak more popular when you gathered the data in May than it is now? What was the standings?
It's really drastically decreased. Like when
Yeah.
I was a freshman a few years ago, like that was like all anybody did was on Yik Yak, and like even since I've been at college, like the past few years, it's drastically reduced in how many people I know that use it. I know it's still out there, but at least from what I've kind of experienced, it's definitely been less popular because of the fact that now you have to have a username and you have like a little emblem next to your name now. So like, you know, if you're doing a lot of yaks, like people are gonna know that, you know, they don't know that it's you, but they know that you're yakking a lot, kind of. So
Yeah, so that was a big turnoff for people, so that's kind of why it kind of went downhill, we think.
That's what motivated the study, because, you know, something doesn't always have to be popular to look at it. In fact, it was the decrease of users that really prompted our curiosity, because we were wondering, well, why are people leaving this site in droves? Well, it was because, and it was actually right around the time you're gathering the data, handles were required. And so when handles are required, you can't have that same kind of anonymity. And so now college students are seeking out other venues that are anonymous for them to express their experiences. And so that's why we're trying to take this sort of pro-social approach to say, well, there's value to anonymity, and perhaps rather than you know, chastising Yik Yak, we should perhaps consider some of its value, its cultural value. One more question, anybody? Yeah.
Have either of you yacked before?
oh yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. When it was, yeah.
For shame.
I definitely had screenshotted some of my own, and that was kind of fun. I'll never reveal which one, but.
I've seen my name in Max. All right, well, great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.